he purchased, there were two old stone farmhouses. One of them was way back in the woods. The other one is right there in the middle of the castle.
Oh, yeah.
Where you see a stone wall jutting out in the middle. That's an old farmhouse. He encased it in concrete and built on the annex to this side where the housekeeper lived, and his own home in the tower the far from. Come with me. Tower, and it's where he lived. So, if you were a visitor to Henry, this is where you'd be greeted. You wouldn't have come in through that door. There's another door down that way, but the key to that door is about 12 inches long. So we don't really want to carry it around too much. Now, it feels a little dark and spooky, doesn't it? He wanted you to feel that way. He wanted you to feel like you were coming into a European castle, very old, very dark, sort of mysterious. He even had the workmen light tar paper on fire to create this dark, sooty ceiling. So it feels even a little more oppressive than it would otherwise feel. He wanted the house, even from day one, to feel antique. He loved everything old. So with that said, few housekeeping details. It is a museum, so please don't touch anything. Also, you're welcome to take pictures. Please do it though as I'm talking in each room. Don't hang back to get that perfect picture because we can't move forward until we're all together. Okay, last but not least, well, no, two things. If you see a barrel back chair like that and you want to take a seat, you're welcome to sit in it, or a folding chair if you see that. Finally, if anyone has to leave the tour for any reason, let me know. I'll radio for a guide, because there are 44 rooms here. You could be lost for 3 years. Yes?
What is the word?
That says kitchen. That is part of the old stone farmhouse. And through that door was the kitchen to the house. There isn't much of it left anymore, so it's not really part of your tour today. But we're going to go into the library down this passageway. I wish everybody was seeing the house on a sunnier day. This is exactly the lighting that Mercer put in when he built the house. So nothing has changed. On a bright sunny day, rooms like this just sort of glow. Now, who was this guy, Mercer? Well, he was born here in Doylestown a few years before our Civil War. He wasn't wealthy, his family was comfortable. So where's all this come from? Well, the short answer is Aunt Elizabeth. Now, his mother's older sister had married a very wealthy guy from Boston. He died right after the Civil War, leaving Elizabeth a wealthy widow and no children of her own. So she could indulge her sister's children. At age 14, Elizabeth takes young Henry to Europe with her. How old were you? That age. Picture that young man going to Europe for 5 months with Aunt Elizabeth. And he sees castles in Scotland, castles in England, castles in France. I think you're getting the idea. He saw a lot of castles, fell in love with them. Said, if I ever get a chance to build a dream house, guess what? It's going to be a castle. Well, it takes him another 40 years. You have to wait till you're 54 years old to have that dream house you've been thinking about. So, what happens
You'll be there before you know it.
He goes to Harvard. He gets a wonderful education. Falls passionately in love with American history. His professors also teach him about what's called the Industrial Revolution, something that happened a few years before his birth. They're saying now machines are making everything, and it's all junk. So they say, you don't want this machine-made crap. What you want are things handmade. So as we go through the house, you'll see all of his furniture, like this table or the candelabra or the tall case cloth back here, the Windsor chairs. They're all primitive early American pieces. That's become his aesthetic. He loves anything old, anything handmade. That's partly why he doesn't tear down that stone farmhouse. Now take a look here at the back of the wall. Looks like paneling, but in fact they're old shutters. Handmade, hand-planed, antique. He loves them. He doesn't want to see them chopped up as firewood, so he repurposes them here as paneling. Other places in the house, he does the same thing with old doors. Now, I'm guessing you all know that eventually he manufactures tile. That we all know about that. Okay. If not, I'll tell you more as we go. But I just want to point out all of the tile here in the library is of his design and manufacture. All of the tile in the ceiling, he designed, manufactured. Finally, here above the fireplace, a type of tile he invented. He called it brocade. He was using individual pieces of tile like mosaics to tell a story. In this case, it's about Christopher Columbus, leaving Spain, crossing the Sea of Darkness, meeting Native Americans, and finally the Pilgrims arrived. So his passion for Christopher Columbus and American history is front and center. When we get upstairs, we'll find a whole room dedicated to Columbus. Now the library contains, oh my God, it's coming down, and I left my top on, oops! It'll survive. It's okay. I should have known better. My bad, as they say. Let's hope it's just a quick squall. Anyhow, 6,000 books throughout the house. The library only contains part of it. Everywhere we go, you'll see books, books, and more books.
Are they all his books, or are they books that you guys have put in here?
Oh, really? No, they're all his books. All his books. There are an awful lot of encyclopedias, a lot of history books, a lot of travel books, a lot of almanacs. But he read and spoke 6 different languages.
Are they cataloged, you know, or?
They
must be.
yes. Yes, they are cataloged. And he himself had every book assigned to a specific bookcase.
Yeah.
And the bookcases are all numbered. So
Oh,
we-
yeah.
We know what
I just want to make sure your car.
well, it's not, but it'll
Do you want
survive.
me to?
Is it a convertible?
Do you know how to close
I
it?
can probably do that.
Oh, my keys are in the desk at the visitor center.
Okay.
And there's a little red button on the middle of the console
Yeah.
that should send the top coming up.
Got it.
It's just my bad. Thank you, Libby. So, in any case, yes, all of the books he had a specific place for. It's not Dewey Decimal System. He had his own arrangement. But you can see many of the bookcases are even modular. It's sort of like having a milk crate or something from IKEA. You could pull out this set of books and move it to another room. Other questions here in the library before we go on?
Did that fireplace work?
Yes. All of them, there are 18 fireplaces throughout the house. They all work. Some of them grew better than others. In some cases, because it kind of tortured the way the flues were going up, they don't draw as well as others. In here, it grew pretty well. And you can see it was used quite a lot.
Can researchers have access to the books at all? I mean, can you request?
A scholar could, but honestly, none of the books here are rare books. They're all available at other libraries. Anything that would be considered rare would probably have been taken out and housed over at the library at Mercer Museum.
Oh. Interesting.
Okay, we're going to move on into the next room, a room he called the saloon.
There we go.
But there was no drinking or beer brawl. Well, there might have been some cognac. Boy, this is quite a squall. Okay, the word saloon is a corruption of the French word salon. This is the largest room in Fonthill. There is no dining room. This is where he would have entertained. If he wanted to have dinner here, they could pull out a table here, but he might even on one of the terraces outside or a table in the library. Wherever he wanted to have his meal was where he ate. Now, if you wonder what the guy looked like, this is a photographic cutout.
Was he that tall?
Yes, he was a little shorter than this, probably about 5'11".
Yeah.
There's also a portrait here, but yes. Now, he's finished up at Harvard, comes back to Doylestown. His grandfather encourages him to get a law degree. He goes to the University of Pennsylvania for 2 years, gets his degree, but he hates the law. He's bored with it, doesn't want to practice. So Aunt Elizabeth, you all remember her, she says, Henry, what do you want to do with yourself? Oh no, maybe I'll go back to Europe and bum around for a few years. That's what he does. He lives on a houseboat in France, another houseboat in Germany. He goes to Cairo, he goes to Turkey. Basically has a great 3 or 4 years. Now he's almost 30 years of age. Comes back to Doylestown, needing to find something to do with himself. And the University of Pennsylvania is building a new museum to Today we call it the Pen Museum. So they reach out to Henry. They know he loves American history. Wouldn't you like to be the director of American anthropology and archaeology? Well, sure, he says. He jumps at it. And for the next 3 or 4 years, he's traveling through North America, Central America, South America, digging in caves. He's looking for evidence of early man. That's what he thinks archaeology is all about. Well, there isn't any. There's never been early man in the New World as far as we know. So you could get bummed out about that. But he doesn't. He starts thinking through the problem and saying, if I can't go back to the beginning of time and work my way forward, what if I think about that industrial revolution my professors have told me about and how it's changed the world? I'm going to think about people 50,000 years from now who want to know about the material culture of early America. So now for the next few years, he's traveling the mid-Atlantic region, gathering up all of the furnishings, the objects that people used in pre-industrial America. Pretty soon he's got 30,000 to 40,000 relics. I know at least 2 of you have been to the Mercer Museum. Have you folks been yet? Not yet. We have scouts on it. You have to promise to go. Because those 30,000 to 40,000 relics, plus another 30,000 to 40,000 that he continues to collect, are all on display a mile that way in the last of his 3 concrete buildings. But this is the first. So, he's getting all of this stuff, and he's worried about the crafts that people no longer are able to do. One of them he's particularly interested in, up here on the wall where I'm shining my light. That's Pennsylvania German redywork. Now that was very common in this area in the 18th and 19th century. But by 1900, nobody wants it. They're throwing it away. People want fine china, Lenox, Limoges. That's what your grandfather did. So, he's living with his parents about 2 miles that way. If anybody knows Doylestown, it's where the Acme market is today. So he says, maybe I'll try to keep that craft alive. I'll set up a little studio, try to make pots. So he digs up local clay, makes some pots. He builds a kiln to fire the pots, puts them in, and they smolder. The local clay isn't right. He didn't get any training. Well, you could again get bummed out about that, but no. Says if it's going to end up flat, I'll make something flat to begin with. That's how he comes to manufacture tile. It's a happy accident. Now the other happy accident is it's 1900. People want this type of thing. Nobody wants old-fashioned Victorian stuff. They want this more modern arts and crafts material. So right away, his tile is popular. He's successful, he's making money, and by 1904, he wins a gold medal at the St. Louis World's Fair. Not bad. Okay. Questions here in the saloon? Yes? Good question. And I'll get to that by starting first over here. When he started manufacturing tile, he began to think I should know more about it. So he started collecting tile from other countries. There are 1,500 examples of tile from all over the world. Now, around these 3 windows are tiles from Holland, specifically the town of Delft. And he's numbered everything. early Delft tile was actually multicolored. But yes, by the late 18th century, it's the blue and white tile we know today. Now, I'm getting back to your question, don't worry. The oldest tile that he collects are these little guys who were asking about. These funny bits of brown, unglazed clay are from 2300 BC, about 4,500 years old, from the Middle East, from a town called Babylon. Now these little guys have cuneiform writing. They're not meant to be decorative. They're temple receipts. So if you gave me 12 goats as your gift to the church, the temple, then I'm going to write it down. And next year, I'll ask you, give me another 12 goats. They found about 30 of these in a catalog. He purchased them. He even had the scholars at the University of Pennsylvania translate. Now look, he's arranged this almost like a museum display with caption up here, play books of Babylon, and then records of something Genesis. Okay, why did he arrange it like a museum exhibit? Because he knew you were all coming today. Really, 2 years after the Doylestown Fonthill, he decides it will always be a museum, and he wants everybody to know this. He even writes his own study guides. So I know that if I did, it would be here for 6 weeks.
Just one about the German plate up there.
Yes.
Is that from Germany with a different kind of material?
Pennsylvania, Germany.
Right, but the clay here you said wasn't the right kind and it went flat?
Right, that was made out in Lancaster County.
So just from here to Lancaster County is a
The
different
clay
kind of
can
soil?
change from mile to mile to mile.
Right. Huh.
About how he designs and builds the house. Before we do, I'll mention that there are 2 central heating systems in the house. This funny thing that looks like an umbrella stand is actually a hot air vent for a coal furnace in the basement. Where you see niches in the walls like this, you think there should be a sculpture. No, that's another hot air vent. Upstairs, you'll also see that there are radiators, hot water. In the wintertime, the house is always warm. Fortunately, in the summertime, the house is always warm. You're wondering what the heck these are? Well, these are concrete copies of cast iron stove plates. Mennonites and other early settlers in the middle would make blocks, 5 or 6 cast iron plates. School fire inside radiates heat out to the room. You promised me Scouts Honor you were going to go to the Mercer Museum. Well, there are 100 or more of those cast iron plates. He liked them so much, he made concrete copies of them. I'll place them here and see them on the saloon. Okay, come on up these stairs. Please use the handrail. They're a little uneven. Oh, no, just right to your left. Just around here to your left. Okay, so even though he's making money from tile, it's still not enough for all this. But in 1906, Aunt Elizabeth dies. In today's money, she was worth $50 million. Not bad. Henry gets $5.5 million of that as his inheritance. Now I can build my dream home. What's it gonna be? Very good. You were paying attention. A castle. So I call an architect, but that's not how he rolls. He's do-it-yourself all the time. He doesn't even get out a sheet of paper. He's been working with clay, tile. So he makes little clay models of each room. Picture 44 clay rooms spread out in your dining room. Now you start squishing them together until you have something resembling a castle. That's how he designs Fonthill. In large measure, that explains why there are so many staircases. One there, two there, one there, one here. They're all over the place. Because he doesn't think first about how you get to each of these 44 rooms. That happens later, more or less on the fly, as they're building. Now, he starts construction in 1908, hires 10 workmen and a horse named Lucy. Now guess what? There's no ready-mix concrete truck that's going to pull up and start dumping concrete. They're mixing it by hand in small batches. And if you look here, you can see it's like a layer cake. This is what they can mix in one batch and pour, come back the next day, and it's cured, another batch, another batch, another batch, so on and so on. From the basement, up, 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 up. They're making these small batches of concrete and building the house a little bit at a time. It takes 4 years to finish Fonthill. Now, the ceilings are all concrete. The floors are all concrete. We have to pour concrete onto something. So here's how they do that. From the outer walls to the tops of these columns, they erect a platform, a scaffold, and on that they mound up dirt and debris. Bunches of dirt on top of this platform. Then they smooth out that dirt with a little bit of sand, and they press decorative tile face down into the sand, leaving a little bit above. Now when they pour the concrete on top of that platform, all that tile gets encapsulated in the concrete. So when they knock the scaffolding away, this is what's left. So anytime you see concrete in a ceiling at Fonthill, it's part of the construction process. It's not applied later on.
Was that typical or is that something that he designed?
He invented. As far as we know, nobody else has ever placed tile into a concrete ceiling like this. So, he finishes the house in May of 1912 and moves in. It costs him roughly 1/3 of his fortune, roughly $1.5 million. Now you could never replace Fonthill for $1.5 million, but nobody's going to come and mix concrete by hand either, or work for $1.50 a day.
He would have had to have made all these before that, though, right?
Exactly. Everything in the ceiling, he had to think about, how do I want to decorate that space?
Yeah.
When we get up to the Columbus room, the tiles are amazing. And he had to think through all of that decoration before they began construction. Now remember I told you about the old stone farmhouse. Well, this space up here is the attic to the farmhouse. He likes it so much, he uses it as his breakfast room, decorates it, even puts in a dumb waiter here to have food sent up from the kitchen. Now, everything you're seeing today is exactly the house that Mercer built, how he decorated it, how he lived here. In addition to the 2 central heating systems, there are 10 bathrooms and 2 lavatories, all of, forget the floor lamp that's here, simply for dark days like this, but all of the wiring and their Edison light bulbs are designed water. Yes, oh yes. Now remember, what fools people is that the house looks so ancient. Finished in 1912. Pretty much everybody by that time had running water. New houses all had running water and central heating. And electricity.
There's a well, like what was the source of the water?
There is. There's an artesian well that is on the terrace beyond the saloon.
Why that house was there?
Well, no, there's another well that would have served that.
Interesting.
Mercer did the artesian well, and I'll explain how that works in a few minutes. There's, right down the street, is the Salem Community Church that has an incredible altarpiece that Mercer designed. He called it the Bible in tile. It's quite wonderful.
It's one of like the story tiles that we saw down in the library.
Yes. Telling, mostly Old Testament stories, but some New Testament. Okay, this funny space again makes no sense except if you remember how he designs the house. Room by room by room, and you have to connect them all. So a staircase, a staircase, a staircase. He calls this a central hall, and he even puts a keyboard here. Every room has a lock and a key, including rooms in the basement. So the housekeeper could send someone up to find the key to the east room,
Alright.
to change the sheets. They grab the key. Now you have to find the east room. But he's labeled everything. So as we go into many of the rooms, you'll see above the door the name of the room. We're going into the east room right now. Above the door, is that labeled? Yes.
Sorry, she's feeling a little.
Oh, yes, no, I understand. Why don't you come up into the east room, which is air conditioned, and I'll radio for you. So need you. You'll feel better in here, not radio.
Probably to eat.
Oh, certainly. That's where we're headed right now. Everybody can come up with me. Hi, Libby or anyone, I need someone to take someone down from the east bedroom, perhaps a little heat stroke. Thank you. Someone will be here in just a minute. Thank you very much. No, you're most welcome. Now, please sit. Sit. Absolutely. So, the east room is one of 3 guest bedrooms in the house. When Mercer designed it, he wasn't expecting a lot of guests, but why not have some guest rooms? So the east room faces east, little terrace outside called the Jersey Terrace. Pictured here by the window was his housekeeper, Laura Long. Now remember, when he moves in here, he's 56 years old. He needs someone young and energetic. Video show there.
Thank you.
To run up and down all these stairs. She's been a maid at his parents' home, where he's been living till he's 56. She loves getting the promotion. They remain lifelong friends. The next 18 years of his life. She lives on the far side of the house, the annex. He lives on this side. But he likes her so much that even in his will, he's given the property to the Historical Society to run as a museum. He gives her a life interest, meaning she can live here as long as she wants. Well, he dies in 1930, she dies in 1970. Another 40 years running up and down all these stairs.
So she lived here for another 40 years?
Yes, she did.
Wow.
Part of the deal was if someone knocked on the door, she'd give them a little tour. As she got older and older and older, the tours got shorter and shorter and shorter. But that's
Still, hey, you got a free castle for 40 years.
Yeah, exactly. The other remarkable thing is she didn't change anything. She didn't say, oh, I don't like that bedspread there, or I don't like that print there. She left everything the way he designed and lived in the house. So again, you're seeing the house as it was 1930, the time of his death. Yes?
Up there, what is that?
The plate on the wall, it's actually from Spain. It's a Spanish piece of pottery, but using some designs from basically the Middle East, from Morocco, from Syria, what we call Moorish design. Okay, now every room in Fonthill almost has 2 ways in and out. We came in one door, we're going to go out another through one of the 10 bathrooms. Whoever's last up, we close the door.
Okay.
Oh, he said close
Yeah.
the door, yeah.
Yeah, just one.
Oh, that.
Yeah, yes, right, yeah. Just, yeah.
Read Latin. In Latin it reads, happy is he who knows the causes of things. Now, I'm not sure what he meant by that, except up here on the ceiling, you see handprints. Now, accident or design? Well, I think so. I think he caused them to be there, and that's why he put this message, happy is he who knows the causes of things. But I have no hard evidence of that. Now, this space, again, just to pass through, he used it mostly as a closet. We're going to go from here into probably the most highly decorated room, the Columbus room. So like in the library, above the fireplace here, he's got the whole story of Christopher Columbus, starting with the departure in Spain, 3 ships, Ferdinand and Isabella. On the floor, tile medallions representing all of the countries of the New World: Trinidad, Costa Rica, Canada, Venezuela, etc. Also, up on the ceiling. Remember, all of this has to be pressed face down into the sand, just like we discussed downstairs. But here we have this elaborate tile leaving Spain, crossing the Sea of Darkness, seeing some of the flora and fauna of the New World, traveling on, finally meeting Native Americans. So what's the big deal with Columbus? Well, because Native Americans didn't have a written language that we could trace history back prior to 1492, Mercer feels that Columbus is the foundation of American history. It's where you can start. Now there's another thing to be honored in this room. Up here on the capitals, initials EL, 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 and plain rusted fire burned bright for EL saying, here shine the light. Okay, what in the heck is EL? How about Aunt Elizabeth? Elizabeth Chapman married T. Bigelow Lawrence. The Lawrence family from Massachusetts had begun manufacturing cotton textile around 1800. Became the wealthiest mercantile family in America. So when Elizabeth and Bigelow marry, they're on their way to England about 1858, not for a honeymoon, to work with his father as the U.S. ambassador. So, lovely, vivacious, spunky Aunt Elizabeth meets Queen Victoria. She meets Charles Dickens, Thackeray, all of the artists, all of the intellectuals of her time. And 10 years later, she takes young Henry, 14 years of age, with her back to England. Well, it's sort of like he's traveling with Madonna. She's that well known. She's that popular. So I think he's saying like Columbus is the beginning of the American story, Aunt Elizabeth is the beginning of his personal story. I don't have any hard evidence for that, but I can tell you for a fact he loved dogs, particularly this guy, a Chesapeake Bay retriever named Rollo. He even dedicates a staircase in Rollo's honor with paw prints. My school groups always wonder if this leads to a dog house. No. It goes up another 2.5 flights of twisty, windy, narrow, dangerous, uncomfortable, claustrophobic stairs. And we're not going. You come back some other time with a younger guide for a behind-the-scenes tour. But above this rather plain room called the wind room, above that the cistern where water from a new artesian well was pumped up all that way, and then the gravity feeds the going. The very top 76 feet above ground without a terrace, the highest of the seven terraces. Those hot air ducts. Questions in here before we continue on? Okay, even though we could leave this room in 3 other manners, we're going to go back the way we came in. Whoever's the last out, please pull the door closed. He had another bedroom most of the time downstairs, but late in life his eyesight was bothering him. He wanted a dark bedroom, so adding a tapestry here and knocking on a bit of the wall. This was his bedroom from 1920 to 1930. Prior to that, the staff mostly used this room to plate food to take out onto the spring terrace where he liked to have meals on nice days. Not so much like this one, but I think the rain stopped enough that we can step out and see the spring terrace. No, the tapestry on that window is a reproduction. In the library, you'll be able to see there's a tapestry that's quite
This place is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually a small castle. Go over to England. This is like a little,
Little hut, yeah.
yeah, this is where the servants stay.
Isn't that something?
brought water down to the original stone farmhouse. Now, another word for spring is font. We're on a high ground, a hill. That's where the house gets its name, Fonthill. Looking back at the house, way up there, the Belvedere Terrace, 2.5 floors above the Columbus Room. From this side, again, you can see 3 sections of the house. The annex, the old stone farmhouse, the tower. On top of the annex, you can see a weather vane dedicated to Lucy, the horse. Now, the building we started in today, our new visitor center, had been a barn. It collapsed. We had the foundation for another building, so we put up a carriage house. But he didn't own a horse, a carriage, or a car. So until about 2 months ago, that building had no function in life. So we're very happy today to have it as a visitor center. It's hard to tell whether it's warm, muddy inside or outside.
I think it's more muddy outside.
1930?
Yes.
So, and he never owned a car? Did he ever drive in them? He must
He
have.
had Uber.
Yeah, right.
He worked in Betty Barnes' truck. And he called Betty. Otherwise, he got around town on a bicycle.
Yeah, I would think, yeah.
He was quite famous for riding around town on his bicycle in a white suit. Now, this photograph shows workmen working on the upper floors of the annex. Here's the old stone farmhouse. If we were taking this photograph, we'd be standing on the spring terrace looking at the old barn. Now, please watch your step on the threshold here. At the end of the corridor is a huge portrait of a wonderful woman, very pretty. If you can't figure out who she is, you haven't been paying attention. On the opposite wall, you'll see Chinese roof tile. There you go. We might say today the house has good flow. You can flow in one way and not another. We came up those stairs, went out those stairs, we're back this way. Now I'll lead you down this corridor through his original bedroom and into his study. Okay, original bedroom, very lovely, but quite bright and sunny, so he needed a darker room. But most of his life, he would get up from there and pad in here where he spent all of his time. He kept the books that were most important to him here. He kept objects from his travels. This is a temple lamp from Cairo. We have a trunk over here, brass bound from Spain. We have on the wall here a bronze begging bowl from Turkey, Egyptian pottery, Native American pottery, Etruscan pottery. And then back here on the back of the fireplace, I noticed you saw it. What is it?
School.
It is a skull.
Pottery ever fall down?
No, it's encased in chicken wire. Any guesses as to who the skull might be?
I'm afraid to guess.
Give it a try.
Come on.
We
Who's
don't
the
know.
owner of the house?
We don't know who it is. But his sister Elizabeth gave it to him when he was at school. And the Victorians had a philosophy expressed in Latin, memento mori, remembrances of death, because the flip side is remembering life and how quick it can be, how short it can be. She's saying to her brother, you don't know how much time you're promised in life. Use whatever you've got wisely. Well, a desk there for morning light, a desk here for midday light where he typed all those study guides I told you about, another desk over here for late afternoon, and a desk with an electric bulb over it.
Are those study guides published or available or?
Unfortunately not. I've asked a couple of times. But honestly, unless you're in the room with the guy,
Right.
you know, it doesn't mean very much. But in any case, he even was writing to people like Thomas Edison about concrete houses, because Edison was building concrete homes at the very same time. So a man totally engaged in the world. He even wrote 13 books in his lifetime. So yes, question. This, it's a little bowl that he actually made using some Masonic symbols on them. Yes.
Can't help but notice that we're on wood floor.
Oh, very good. Right under the wood is concrete.
Gotcha.
But he didn't like to get out of bed and put his bare feet down on cold, hard tile. So for his own comfort, in his room, the study, wood floors, there would have been some throw rugs, scatter rugs. The two guest bedrooms we're going to next also have some wood floors. So if you're ready, follow me. This cute little space he called the map room. He kept a lot of his travel books and encyclopedias in here. Then we have another little bathroom, another passage back to the central hall, and the west bedroom. You were asking about the tapestry. These are the original tapestry. You can see sort of back here where one of them is peeling away from the wall, you know, how much more colorful it would have been. But unfortunately, fabric doesn't age that well. So, west bedroom adjoins the yellow room. I think he intended when a husband and wife traveled for the man to be in this room, the wife to be in the other room. Single bed. Now I think that the man is here because of this fireplace around. These are old guys having a little too much to drink. This one about to upchuck. This one with his eyeglasses all askew. These are scenes of Charles Dickens' Pickwick Papers. I don't know if he ever met Dickens, but Aunt Elizabeth did. In fact, Dickens even called her that little darling. So I like to think at some time Mercer met Dickens. We'll step into the yellow bedroom. I think you'll find it's a little more feminine.
What's your question?
Yeah.
No, see, it's okay, that is the original tapestry.
The tapestry? The tapestry is original, but it was ordered from France. And he paid, back in his time, about $8 a yard, which was quite a lot of money. So the yellow bedroom, probably a little more feminine. In fact, there are 2 closets, as well as a chest of drawers. And here you can see old doors recycled as paneling, or an old door used for the staircase to the ensuite bathroom, or this door which leads to another hall. This is the one room in the house where the subsoil probably wasn't as sturdy as he would have liked it to be. You can see how
Sort of settle.
it settles. But it happened early on. They built up the dresser and the closet to level it out. Here you see radiators, which are part of the hot water central heating system. Now there's probably a tour starting out in the saloon, so a last chance for questions before we descend one final set of stairs.
Just incredible, overwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, I'll use this as a place to make a pitch for the tile works. Now, the Historical Society doesn't run the tile works. It was about to be torn down in 1970. The neighbors pitched a fit. The county government stepped in and started running it as a living museum. They still manufacture all of Mercer's catalog of tiles. All of this stuff they will still make for you, and it's quite remarkable. So whether or not you take the tour of the tile works, which is self-guided, is up to you. But take a look in the gift shop to see what's still being made. It's remarkable. Okay, we're going to head out this door and down one last set of stairs. Let's get downstairs. The last step is unusually high, so be careful. Plaster model of the house. It didn't survive. We don't know what became of it.
Thank you.
So, again,
Yes, thank you.
I'm
Good
sorry.
job.
I'm sorry your wife had a hard time, but I understand. I'm a little schwitz.
We all are. Drink a lot of water.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks again. Great
You're most
tour.
welcome.
Thank you very
Thanks so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.